Be Offended with Joe and Tim.
Hello, Joe.
Hello there, Tim. I am.
Is this a very special episode?
No, we're not bringing that up.
It's not a very special episode of Be Offended Radio?
No. That's being offended and that's being canceled. We don't want to be canceled. We just want to offend people.
So me and Joe, occasionally we talk without recording. And a few weeks ago,
we always regret it.
We came up with an idea about masks and how we can get people to wear masks. And I thought one of the fun ideas would be if they did a Sambo mask.
Yes, your idea.
So that you can get like the people, because back when the pandemic was really raging, you really just needed people to wear masks. So what would you get? To get these terrible people to wear masks and well, if they could be openly racist, then perhaps they would wear a mask. So apparently, even though we didn't record our conversation, a couple in Minnesota, I guess was inspired by this conversation they didn't even know we had.
And
they decided to wear Nazi masks to Walmart.
Oh, nice.
So two people wore
the flag?
They took like the Nazi. It was like the Nazi armband. It looked like. So they put their face in through like where the arm should be.
Yeah,
and they wore swastikas. Like the red swastika. It's masks.
You know what? That's a missed opportunity. I'm sad that they didn't do what would have been the best thing of all. They should have done the Hitler mustache. Like, if you're going to do that, you have a mask.
Like a mask with a Hitler mustache on
exactly. That's the perfect thing. If you had, like, the mouth open and angry and the little Hitler mustache, like, how could
Interesting.
you...
Okay, you know what? Yeah, so it was two... Because there's... I think you coined the phrase, everything... What is it? Nothing is funny unless it's racist, or everything that's racist is funny.
Everything, one of the two is what it was.
I don't remember. You have to listen back to the old episode. Yeah. Joe coined that phrase, but wearing a Nazi flag on your face is just openly racist. But wearing a mask that has Hitler's yelling mustache? Face with the mustache is actually pretty funny, and it might actually cancel out the racism. Where you actually would just be like, you're just hilarious, and I enjoy your jokes. So thank you.
So it's a missed opportunity. I'm ashamed that what can you do? This is why they need us to build merchandise. We are the merchandise kings.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess we have two really terrible ideas then.
Yes.
Good thing this pandemic is starting to slow down.
Yeah. It's
otherwise we would be in business selling really inappropriate
masks.
Okay. So you're not going to cancel yourself today?
No,
Joe?
I'm not going to cancel myself. I don't think it's a story for public consumption because there's nothing funny about it.
Apparently Joe was shocked to find himself being silly in his youth.
Yeah,
and he was ready to cancel himself.
If I was Twitter, and me as Twitter came across something I did when I was young, I'd be canceled. I'd be canceled for sure.
What interests me is not necessarily doing something stupid when you were younger, because everyone, we talked about this. Everyone does something stupid. Like
there's nobody.
You go back to the beginning of. You go back to the beginning of this season, and I'm sure there's things that we said on the first episode that we wouldn't say now, just because you get
it's every 6 months.
Yes. But what surprises me is how you don't remember that you did something stupid. Like you would be shocked. Like it seems like when things become like very popular. Like for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but let's say I actually don't want to give examples.
This is a good topic, though.
Things become all of a sudden in the news that like this particular behavior, this particular action is now like super out there. Where like if they find out you did this in your youth, you'll be fired, you'll be canceled, you'll lose your wife, you lose your kids, you lose your family, you lose your job.
Hide your wife, hide your kids. Yeah.
And when they come up with that, I think back and I'm like, ooh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of high school shenanigans is like, ooh, I'm glad I'm not famous. Because, But
so what surprises me is that you actually would come across in your archives this cancelable behavior that you did.
Yeah.
And that you didn't recall your cancelable behavior when they started canceling people for it. That's what surprises me. Like Joe is Joe, and we all are, not just Joe. We are all responsible for cancelable behavior. But when they cancel the behavior, you go, "Oh boy, I hope no one ever finds this." So how did you not know?
So
how did you not know?
So let's give the listeners at least some context here. First of all, it's not me raping anybody. It's not me killing anybody. It's not me being a Nazi. Okay, so clear your brain of all the horrible things now. It's not like a video of me like killing someone or inappropriately touching anybody. So it's nothing to do with anybody else. It's all just me. But I
know that leaves a lot of things you could have done, Joe.
I'm hearing like the calculator noise. It's just like putting together all the equations.
What about fans right now has like one of those big charts with the pins and the string
with the red string?
And they're trying to figure out what your cancelable crime was.
Yeah. It's like the board on 24. No, so here's something we've never talked about, and it's probably topical that we're talking about it because I never talked about it, is that I have a very bad memory when it comes to my life in general. I am a little bit of a goldfish in that I really can't remember most of things a year before. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, "Hey, remember when we did this? Hey, remember when we did that?" And I'll be like, "Oh yeah," and that sparks the memory. But I can never be the dude that's like, "Hey, remember when we did X, Y, and Z?" Because I can't place that in time. Like, for instance, we went this is a good example. You'll know this and I won't. When John the Baby Maker was getting married and we had a bachelor party, I don't remember, not because I was drunk, but I was, but I don't remember at all what year that was, if I was in college, if I was out of college, if I was older, younger. I cannot tell you for my life what time period that was in my like living. Like I have no idea. I know it happened a while ago. I know, what we looked like, and I remember the photos and being drunk. I don't remember anything about when that was in time. Like someone will say right away, "Oh, that was 2008 or that was 2009. I can't place anything year from year. Like if you asked me legitimately, "What did you do 4 years ago?" Right now, I'm asking myself that question. I have not a fucking clue. I might have been somewhere. I don't know.
This might explain a pet peeve of mine that I have of you.
Oh, because I can never place historical events?
No.
Oh, okay.
That your how you casually refer to like any girl who you've had a sexual relationship with as your ex.
Oh, because there's many of them, but yeah.
but that's why, because you haven't lived long enough to consider like to me, like an ex is somebody who's like 6 months and more.
There's plenty of 6 months or more. I've got more than I can admit at 6 months. But you haven't lived
long enough to have that many exes, and I feel like this problem with chronology, it might be related to it, so that you think you look back and you're like, "Oh, that was my ex." But you actually can't place how long you dated because you have this chronology problem.
No, I can.
So you think back of someone as your ex, but you actually only saw each other for like 3 weeks.
No, I don't have Alzheimer's.
Because you literally have no idea. Like, so as far as you know, in your head, you saw each other from like 2006 to 2009. But in actuality,
it was only 3 times
weeks.
In that year.
Yeah,
span.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. This all makes sense now.
No, that's not that. Okay, I don't have early onset Alzheimer's.
No, I think I finally figured out why you think every single person who you ever dated is your ex, is because you literally just know that you dated them sometime between high school and today, and it must have been long enough to rise to ex status, but it didn't, because you didn't date them long enough.
So this goes along with me saying I legitimately can't remember these things, because until like that smell or that whatever, that trigger that brings the memory up, I kind of live in this like veiled bubble that like after a certain, like, we can only see so far in the universe, even though there's much more out there. It's like once you reach that barrier, it's like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. But if something brings it up, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happened. But yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's
that
very
is a fun theory
weird.
that the universe is older than we can see.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's not a theory; it's fact. It's just it's because of they can measure the speed. Geek alert! They can measure the speed of the expansion, so therefore they can calculate.
So they can calculate. That we can't see back as far as how long there's light that hasn't reached us yet.
Yes. So
because of how far away we are from that light.
Yeah. So that's one of those things for me. That's how you can.
This is similar. Expand. So you're comparing your memory to that of the ever expanding.
Yes.
My
timeline
universe.
is expanding, and my memory only goes to a certain threshold, and then after that, I think it's a 4-year span. Everything is just mush. Like every 4 years, I'm someone else apparently, which also makes sense. I'm just a new person every 4 years.
See, what we shouldn't have done is we shouldn't have taken off 12 years between season 1 and season 2.
Wait, we did? Oh my God. Wait a second. I thought it was only 6 weeks.
Because you could have just measured your life in the podcast. You could have just went back and you listened to your stories.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to do everything in chronological order for me. It's because I have to see, which episode. That was one of the things we had when we were backing up shows. And I told Tim he was doing dates, and I said, no, don't use dates.
Dates mean nothing to me.
Dates mean nothing to me. I need to know what episode number it is. And that's why.
That's really funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So we learned something new about your mental illness. It's fun to slowly reveal your mental illness for our listeners. But I did not realize that you had problem with chronology and that you literally... Interesting. We should do one of the quiz shows we should do is we should do a quiz of this show. This is your life. And we'll have
if you plot that out, forget it. I would fail instantly. I would never be able to make that show. That's funny though. That's great. Yeah, so it's that, and it also explains why. And I'm going to reveal more neuroses. No, what were you going to say? I'll remember this.
I was going to say, could you do like a some kind of trigger? Because you said
diary.
Smell. So could you go back to your sex videos?
Yeah, just I remember her.
And just watch the sex video and then remember I was listening to Dave Matthews Band at the time, 2004.
Yes.
2004, so maybe maybe you should just, instead of journaling, maybe you could use all the nudes that females send you in sex videos you made to put your life back together.
So sad. Okay, so this isn't even a comedy bit. I wish it was. I wish I was smart enough to come up with this, but that's actually how I live my life. So I've had iPhones since the iPhone came out. I still have my iPhone 1. iPhones do this great thing for organizing your photographs. And I take a lot of photographs, but I also take a lot of screen grabs of things. So whenever I come across something on my phone that I like or have seen, I'll take a screen grab of it because I won't fucking remember it otherwise. And you can't bookmark everything because there's not a web browser for everything, but I'll screen grab. So how many photos do you have in your phone at any given time? What do you think your number is?
Thousands, probably. Yeah,
you have thousands. Okay, so I have 4,931 photos in my recent photos, and of that, let's see, screenshots are 3,104.
Wow.
Yes. So I have 3 out of 4
this is
photos.
The equivalent of the conspiracy theory guy cutting out newspaper articles. You know that, right?
Yeah. So I, by memory, by stringing that red string to make connections in my brain with my iPhone, I will take a screen grab. For instance, the funny ads. Sometimes I send Tim funny ads that I get on Instagram because they're always, like the Irish, thing and all that. Not the Irish, the Scottish. I can't even remember where I own land anymore.
What country you own.
The threshold is met.
So as far as scams go, that's really a short-lived high.
Yeah,
because you only revealed your lordship a couple of weeks ago.
Well,
on this, and you've already forgotten what country you're a lord in.
Yes,
so
pretty much.
As far as
Ireland,
waste
Scotland,
of money go,
that's more of just being a typical American and not knowing shit. But
you're a lord, for God's sakes.
I'm a I have to ease into, when Kate, what's her face, became
I'm sure
a princess.
she can find her country on a map, dude.
You know what? I don't think I could find Scotland on a map. I don't think I could find Ireland on the map.
It's just across from it.
Oh, all right. Well, then there you go. You ruined what could have been a great quiz to.
But could you find Wales? Yeah, good. We're gonna do visual map finding on the radio. Good. That's a great bit.
No. You can just say, what's Florida shaped like? What's Italy shaped like? You can do that. So yeah, I have 3,000 screen grabs, and I use those screen grabs or screenshots, whatever the hell they're called, to place in my life things that I've experienced and seen. So when I scroll through my photos, it's 1 out of every 4 is an actual photo I've taken. And between those gaps is other things, that I've researched. I'm always researching stuff. So that kind of gives me this chronological order. So when I scroll through, I'll see, oh, this is when I was looking to purchase land. Oh, this is when I saw the ad to purchase land. Oh, this is when I was sitting at home masturbating, thinking about purchasing land. So I'll have things. So when you said the sex videos and sex tapes, absolutely, because I can see a photo of a pretty girl that I talked to, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember I talked to her, which also means that's the same time that I did X, Y, and Z. So yes, it is a complete mind palace of connections when you're having memories, and I do memories not within my head but in my phone. So if my phone is gone, forget it, I'm fucked.
I vote genius because I don't remember things. I just remember them once, and then I put something like for example, I need to order checks. So I leave my checkbook out in a place it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why the fuck is my checkbook out? And I'm like, because I need to order checks.
Yeah, that's the.
So
that's
I think the fact that you don't remember things, but you know enough to create this breadcrumb trail.
Oh yeah, it is
come
a breadcrumb
back
trail.
to your thought. I think is pretty smart. I think we're very well prepared for becoming old and senile and having Alzheimer's.
Yes,
because we definitely can clue ourselves to whatever genius thought or thing we were trying to remember.
Oh yeah, I can give one last example here for just like a safe okay, here's a perfect example. I checked my credit score, and I took a screen grab of me checking the credit score, and I know what my credit score was at such and such time. So I can go back now and look at all the screen grabs of my credit scores and see, oh yes, that's when I was doing good, or this is what I was doing. Things like that they're actually very practical. But then, I'll scroll. Okay, for instance, here we go. There's a screen grab of a bag that I wanted to buy. That was for photography, for a camera. And I saved that. I didn't delete it, even though I bought the bag. The bag is still there as a photo, not because I need to remember the bag, because that places when I was doing that. Now I remember, I went to Home Depot and looked at things, and at that same time I was talking to What's-Her-Face.
It's Joe. I don't know.
It's this whole big thing. Yeah.
As I realized, this podcast is just your audio diary.
Well, we said that it was going to be the dumbing down of my life, the chronicles of Joe's insanity. So yeah, this is.
It's gonna be funny when the podcast is done and I can just sell it as a I can just sell it as like a documentary or something, like an 8-part documentary about this.
Discover
whatever you become, whatever ending you're hurtling towards.
Oh my god, that's gonna be scary.
And I can just sell the podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's why I got rid of the unlabeled activity that I did. I expunged it from the world.
So you're not going to admit this is not going to be a very special episode of Be Offended Radio?
No. I'm good with admitting I did something stupid when I was young. In my defense,
do you want to apologize just in case?
Nah, I don't apologize.
Do you want to double down on it? Would you like to double down? So you do it again?
If I had a Hitler mask, all I'm saying is I would have gone with the mustache instead of the
Nazi swastika.
Yeah. That's the kind of comedy I work with.
Fair enough. Should we take a break? If you're not going to admit to anything.
We need a break. This is ridiculous. Looking for more talk radio? You can listen to all of Season 2 of The Inappropriate Guys right now on BeOffendedRadio.com. And we're back.
We are back. And I just real quickly before you start your next topic, I would just like to recognize the fact that you were able to survive your blackout and loss of internet recently. I mean, it's been a few weeks already, but we haven't had a chance to hear it on the radio.
Oh my God, that's right.
So once again, Mr. Prepper was caught with his pants down.
No, I wasn't.
And there was a strong breeze that went through Long Island a few weeks ago, and it knocked out his power for several days, his internet for like 10 days.
No, it was 5 days without like level power. Like the power came back on for maybe like 3 hours and then it went out again. But it was a full solid 5 days without internet or power.
Very similar to when the pandemic hit and Mr. Prepper was not ready to with his go bag.
No, I'm going to ruin.
The hurricane blew through.
No. So this is what I have to say. You say that, but I have a generator. I had battery powered lights that could last for months. I had a fan that was battery powered that could again last for months. I was okay. I was fine. I had my AC on with a generator running and my fridge going. So I stand by my prepperness. It sucked because I didn't have internet and I couldn't do a show. But yeah, no. I'm shooting that one down. You don't get that one.
Okay, I was hoping you were once again caught. Nothing makes me happier now when a disaster hits New York or Long Island, and you're like caught. Because the whole time I didn't lose. I think we.
You didn't lose.
No, I think that maybe the lights flickered once or twice, but we didn't lose any power. We were high and dry.
Yeah, everything
was great. We had internet, we had power, we have air conditioning. We're eating steaks. Everything's great. And Joe's sitting there trying to go through. Apparently, a tree fell through his little garden.
Yeah, it did. It took out the whole
and crushed his shit potatoes. His Matt Damon shit potatoes. So there he is trying to salvage his shit potatoes. And me and my wife are passing around the filet mignon that we just cooked. We have every single light in the house on just for fun, because we could.
Why is the garage door light on? Just leave it on.
Considering it's so much, someone has to burn that fossil fuel. So we figured, with so many people without power, we might as well make up for them. LIPA needs to make their money too.
You're doing what's called leveling power. When there's a surge somewhere else, you have to actually draw more power so it stays level.
Correct. So we wanted to run as much power as like all of the Long Island, which didn't have any power.
Yes, exactly. So you were keeping the balance.
At one point, I think when we got up to day 4 of Joe not having internet, I asked if he wanted to park his car in my driveway and siphon my Wi-Fi.
And I said I'm not that desperate yet.
This is the kind of friend I am. I just wanted to be a humanitarian.
Well, I just didn't want you to come down throwing out garbage and catch me masturbating in the car. So that's the real reason. It's the only reason you need internet. Like there's only so many times you can watch that same video.
You're certainly not reading the news.
No, there's no news. So I have a stupid.
So you got me on that one. I wanted to get you.
But no. I have a stupid silly topic which is going to go nowhere, so I could just check it off.
Okay.
With the whole COVID mask, everything, I was thinking about how ventriloquists are doing at this time. Because
I haven't seen where is the bailout for ventriloquists?
Yeah, Jeff Dunham and Jeff Dunham. Like, where
are they not doing well, or are they suddenly
doing
inundated with competition?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, actually, why am I not starting a ventriloquist act?
Why don't you have a ventriloquist act?
Yeah, why don't we all just become ventriloquists?
With the Hitler mustache mask.
No, with the...
So I just started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, no one can be a ventriloquist right now, or everybody can be a ventriloquist, but it ruins
either
the
way.
trick.
It ruins the existing ventriloquist's livelihood. It doesn't matter which side of the ventriloquism you're on.
Yeah, like people are complaining about, modeling or some other thing with their face. Fucking ventriloquists. This is all literally the only thing they have as their job is to make sounds come out of their mouth while you see their mouth not moving. That's their only job description. Now that your mouth is covered, that job is gone. There's the magic lift. The magic veil has been lifted.
Yeah, well, that's a very original thought. I've not seen that.
Okay.
I get a lot of comedy and information from a lot of sources, but no one has had that thought but you.
You've heard it here first.
I commend you for an original original comedy.
That would be like a Jimmy Fallon bit, wouldn't it? Like all of a sudden they have a ventriloquist on, but he's wearing a mask. Like that's exactly what they would do. So yes, you've heard it here first. Original comedy.
You've heard it here first. Yes.
Ventriloquist.
If you're an out of work ventriloquist, email us at angryhatemail@gmail.com or send us a direct message on Twitter. We have not plugged out Twitter in a while.
No,
but we are
I
Be
don't think
Offended
it's worth
Radio on Twitter. We're Be Offended Radio on Instagram.
We're the inappropriate guys on Pornhub.
Yeah, I think there's some underscores in there.
I don't know.
No, they're pretty sure there's some underscores.
No, because you can search it. Just stop searching for your step sibling whatever porn and just type in the inappropriate guys.
No, I would probably
not
search it in Google maybe because you don't want to put guys. And I'm just saying I just don't. Because I've tried to find us on Pornhub and I was not happy with the rest of the like. I did find us, but I was not pleased with the rest of the results.
Let's just
say it was a real cock softener.
I gotta say, I think we've hit a milestone here. I think this is the first time we haven't talked about a penis in the first half of the show.
Well, you think Mike's still listening?
I was just going to say, I think Mike is listening.
Wow. Mike, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it.
You've made it this far. Well, he won't hear the thanks because, we talked about it.
Because you said penis as soon as he says the word penis.
So that was my ventriloquist thing.
That's a good thought, Joe. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
It just kind of makes you think.
I have other breaking news. I've got lots of breaking little bits of news here.
Is it about the man with the penis on his arm?
No, but I'm curious about that. Our favorite, or one of our favorite franchises, our star, Mr. Cruise, or just Tommy as I like to call him. Tom Cruise is going to be
Bobby De Niro.
Yeah. Me and Bob hang out, and every once in a while Tommy comes over. Tom Cruise.
I don't think anyone's ever called him Tommy. I'm trying to think. There's like Tommy Lee Jones, but I don't think anyone has ever no one's ever called him Thomas either, though.
Yeah, Thomas.
It's either like Tom or Mr. Cruise. I don't think I've ever heard anyone being like, "Oh, you called Tommy over."
You know what? The first time I meet him, I'm going to start calling him Tommy because he'll never forget the one asshole who's calling him Tommy all the time.
What did you say? Are you my mother? Because if you're not my mother, you can't call me Tommy.
Yeah. and I'll be like, okay, Thomas. So Tommy Boy is he's planning, and it's in the works already. So this isn't just like a rumor mill. To be he's going to be producing and starring in the first action movie filmed in actual outer space.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know anything other than that, but I got a whiff of that and I was like, oh my God. Because he does everything for real and all, he does his own stunts and everything.
He doesn't do, which by the way, and I'm glad you brought this up because it's actual space.
Yes.
But I was thinking the other day about Apollo 13, the movie Apollo 13.
I was thinking about it too. You know why?
Because they were floating around, and that Tom Hanks and Kevin Bacon, who's in space? Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and
Gary Sinise. No, Gary Sinise was on the ground.
On land.
It was Bill Paxton. God rest his ass. Yeah,
I think he's still alive.
No, Bill Paxton's dead. You don't know, but cue the music. Bill Paxton's been dead for a while, dude. Where have you been?
Wait, how are they going to do Twister 2 then?
Exactly. That's what I said. I said you can't do Twister 2. They're doing a reboot with different everybody.
Bill Paxton was an American actor?
Yeah, see? He's dead.
Died February 25th of 2017?
Yeah, dude. You see the 4-year barrier? You've got the 4-year barrier, man. It's not just me.
Oh, I had no idea Bill Paxton died. So how are they going to do Twister 2?
I don't know. It's sad.
I thought you had said I thought like his character had died. I just forgot about his character dying. I didn't actually realize he himself had died.
There was like memes about this all over the internet. Well, anyway.
So anyway, it made me think about how I want to go back now and I want to go on YouTube or something and find a documentary on how they made Apollo 13 because
you've never seen it?
Everyone takes for granted Tom Hanks is our greatest actor, but they forget that he literally just rode the vomit comet.
Yeah.
For what?
For
months?
Months.
I mean, you figure most of that movie takes place with them in space.
Yeah.
And unless they did one take, they were acting in what? How long does the vomit comet go down? 60 to 90 seconds?
It's a parable. Jesus Christ. Parable? I don't know how to say that word. I don't know what that word is. Parabola. There you go. Parabola. It's a parabola. So there's a down and an up, but between those two, there's extreme gravity, and then there's so you come down. Yeah. So
wait, so then is there like a director of photography and a grip and everything?
Yeah.
Like so they're all just floating up and down together because the camera work and the acting on that
is phenomenal.
Impeccable.
It's
and
Oscar.
Yeah. No, it makes me, because that already was a great movie, but then I thought
and
back because that movie came out in 1995.
Fucking
so I was 11 years old. So I didn't consider the fact that these professionals were not actually in space.
Yeah. No, they were in the closest thing that you can be in, which is the vomit comet. And so there's, I forget what it is, but it's like 60 seconds in one direction and 90 seconds in another. So total flight, I think you get maybe a couple of minutes before they have to refuel. It's insane. It's like the most insane, daunting task. It's on YouTube. You can search on YouTube. It's free on there. I'm going
to spend a little time this weekend, I think, watching all the so because that. Oh, it's phenomenal. If you told me that they just sent them to space, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they were in space, that they just were floating around.
No, they were actually weightless.
The little tape is floating. Remember the one point they're floating around?
He spins the Walkman.
They're just casually acting and just spinning around a tape.
Yep.
And then, meanwhile, they're plummeting possibly to their death. You really have to trust those pilots.
Yep. You have to trust the damn
there's
plane.
Like 3 union guys in the corner holding a cup of coffee.
It's gonna suck. Just being like the boom op for something like that. Just the guy holding the microphone.
Do you think there's a lot of technology that came out of making that movie?
Oh, I'm sure.
They probably didn't have a boom guy. They probably had to embed the microphones through the set, right?
No, they had a boom guy.
They had to build the set in the airplane.
Yeah, they were.
They had to build the set in the airplane.
Correct. They built so
they had to build a spaceship inside of an airplane.
Correct.
And then they had to fly around.
This is what NASA did with them. So NASA worked with them on designing the LEM and everything so that they had it accurate, right?
But it still was inside of another airplane.
Correct. But that's actually
it wasn't a soundstage or anything.
But that's actually how the astronauts trained. So they made the movie how the real astronauts trained to do the real thing. So think about that. They went through the same training.
The real astronauts had, because they're saying the real astronauts had to go through like the little same spinny thing.
Yep.
And they throw them underwater and they do all these crazy things to them.
They all had to do that too.
And this is just the guy who was in Bachelor Party.
Yeah. And he had to go through the full NASA training.
The guy from Footloose.
Yep. Guy from Footloose.
Do you think the stroke had anything to do with Apollo 13?
No, that was
did Apollo 13 kill Bill Paxton?
No, we can't spread that kind of news. We're too popular to be talking about things like
we don't want to start. It's going to be trending. Bill Paxton conspiracy theory.
So we're going to be able to see that again with Tom fucking Cruise, or Tommy as I call him, and we're going to see that for real, like without a vomit comet. Could you imagine the epicness this is going to be with Tom Cruise in space? Now, I don't know if it's the full movie in space. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like a scene, and they're probably going to shoot him up on SpaceX and they're going to film like something on the International Space Station. I think it's just going to be like a scene on the ISS. That's what I'm thinking. Because
that must be really cool to be like the camera operator and all those like or the guy who holds like the little button thing to see what the glare is. What's that job called?
The button thing to see the glare.
It has like a number on, and then the top it has like a little white dome, and they hold it to check what the glare is.
That's a gaffer, and he's checking the exposure of the scene.
Yeah. So like there's some gaffer guy who like smokes like 15 Marlboros a day. He's just like riding up to space so he can like hold his little meter thingy in front of Tom Cruise on the International Space Station.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I like to think of that like smaller things, like when you watch those Everest documentaries or like all those,
that blows my mind.
And the guy who's the subject of the documentary is about to like have his hand fall off from frostbite.
And then
meanwhile,
there's this asshole
camera walking backwards up the side of a mountain, holding like 40 pounds of equipment.
Yeah.
Like he's fine.
Yeah.
You never hear about the cameraman dying on this thing, but for some reason the asshole who's like narrating it, or who's, this is our trip. He dies of oxygen exposure. For some reason they can have 4 boom guys and 3 cameramen hanging off, rappelling off the side of the mountain so they can watch this asshole like stumble down.
So it's funny you brought that up, because I when I went through that whole thing, because I wanted to go to base camp, and I was watching movies, the Everest, there's a couple of like really famous Everest movies, and I just kind of watched them all, and I'm watching some of them that are real documentaries and some of them that are they're like fictional things, but then they're mixed in with like real stuff, like real climbers talking about it. So it's like, reenactments.
The reenactment stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it's actually still on fucking Everest. It's not like, they're on a soundstage. It's really, they're on Everest. And I'm sitting there thinking, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to be the guy holding the heavy camera, because it's an IMAX fucking movie. The IMAX
it's like
camera,
extra,
it's like a fucking mini fridge. Like the IMAX camera, not only is it gigantic, but the film rolls. You only get 2.5 minutes of film per magazine for a cartridge. So the amount of film you have to lug up, the amount of Sherpas just lugging this fucking shit up. Just carrying all this stuff. So I could watch this guy's hand start to freeze off. And I'm like, you couldn't fucking pay me. Like, there's no, like, but I don't care if I want an Oscar.
Why doesn't that guy just wear the same gloves that the cameraman's wearing? Because his hand's not freezing off. It's like the old joke where, like, why don't they make the plane out of what they make the black box out of?
Yeah.
But seriously, like, why isn't the subject of the documentary in half as good a shape as the fucking camera guy? Because the camera guy always comes home alive.
It's probably because I think they train Sherpas to do a lot of the camera stuff.
So you think they so they Sherpas are doing the camera rather than just some cameraman becoming a Sherpa overnight. Yeah, I think it's much easier to train someone to hold a camera in the freezing cold than to have the opposite. Don't tell the union that. Yeah, well, someone's gotta make a job happen. So, Sherpas are really, what it comes down to? This is that Everest minute again. What it comes down to is there is no fame and glory and or anything when you climb Everest. Once you've watched one of the actual like modern documentaries of going to Everest, there's nothing glorious about it. It's a giant long line. You stand up there for like an hour. You get to the top. Everybody and their mother's up there already. Like, there's no, like, who cares? Like, a 96-year-old woman went up there, like, because she was carried on the back of a Sherpa. Like, anybody can get a Sherpa to bring them and drag them up there. You might not make it back down alive, but you can make it up there. I think, I mean, I don't think people, no, I'm going to go, I think I would still be like, wow, that's cool. I mean, I agree that it's not rare. And enough people have done it, but it's still it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of because when you get up to the oxygen is bad. Your body's quitting on you. Your body, you're literally dying. It takes a physical and mental. Yeah, you once you get above a certain altitude, you're going hypoxic. You're literally starting to die, and you need to make it up and make it back without dying, without losing your mind. The race back down Everest is the race against your body dying before you make it to the bottom. That's the race. And that's insane. So I don't care about the summiting. I care about the summiting and the return. Because there's a lot of people who've summited and not made it back. Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't make it back to, no, you can't. Yeah. If you don't make it back, it doesn't count because you don't get a brag. The whole reason you go to Everest is like bragging or something. To go back and be like, you want to be that one guy in the corner of the bar who's like 75, 78, and someone just turns on the TV and mentions Everest, and then they're like, Joe is on Everest, and then everybody looks over and he's just sitting there drinking a whiskey, be like, yeah, I was there. I lost these 3 fingers. Dying on the way down from Everest is like when you were in high school, if you had sex with a head cheerleader, but then on the way home you died in a drunk driving accident. Yeah, there's no bragging. Like, it just doesn't count. It's overshadowed. Like everybody's going to remember your death, not the peak. No one remembers your sexual. Nobody remembers you fucked Jessica. You die. Who? Yeah. What?
Jessica.
Is that a real name? Or is that just a made up name?
It's just a made up name. I don't know who's Jessica.
That sounded very real, Joe.
There's many Jessicas I've fucked. I don't know. But yeah, that's like one of those. That's one of those things. You just have to.
Were there many, or was just one? Over many times, and you have no chronological remembrance.
No. So to stay on this topic of the Everest and that thing, I have Amazon Prime. Sponsor us, please. For fuck's sake.
Joe. Wow.
Yeah, I'm such a cool
man.
guy.
That's like $8 a month. How do you swing that?
With my dick.
You sure it's not an ex-girlfriend's username and password?
She just forgot I had it. Why does their bill keep charging? I thought we canceled.
Who's watching these Everest documentaries?
Yeah. You really into Everest. So Amazon had the world's toughest race on. That's their like biggest new thing with Bear Grylls. And immediately I was like, I can't watch this. Like it's Bear Grylls. His stuff is so poorly edited. And I was like, I'll watch. And I started 15 minutes in. I was hooked and I watched the entire fucking like 12 hours of this thing. It was
okay. I have Amazon Prime. I'm intrigued. Give me your summary. Executive summary.
Yeah. So the real thing is, it really isn't anything about the race. It's about the people in the race, and that's how they made this show great.
Is it like The Amazing Race, or what? I guess it's Bear Grylls. So do they have to like eat poop or something on the way?
No. So if you don't know, this is something I truly didn't know existed, but apparently it's huge. But I'm not athletic enough to understand this. There are these world races that are top athletes. Most of these athletes are triathlon athletes, and then they do these things which are called eco challenges and eco races. And basically, they drop you off in some country somewhere, and you do a race that you don't know the trail to. You were handed a map, and you were given instructions of where to be and what the time cutoffs are of these checkpoints. And basically, you're plopped down, and you have to go. You don't know how you're getting there. From checkpoint to checkpoint, you're then told what the next thing you have to do is. It's insane, and it's real. It's not because I know this shit. It's actually real. And it's phenomenal because these are all world athletes. And the thing that triggered my memory of it, which is amazing, is you were talking about the guys who go to Everest, or I did. I don't know. I don't remember anymore. But one of the guys who was on that race on Amazon, I recognized his name, and I was like, fuck, I know this guy's name. And I went on IMDb and I looked it up, and then sure enough, he was one of the guys in the last Everest movie. So he had summited Everest back in like 2007 or something. And now he's on this TV show in a race.
Yeah, sounds like a good recommendation to me.
It's really good. Like there's like
what's
this
it called? The ultimate race?
The world's most dangerous race, or the something like that. It's on Amazon.
Bear Grylls the host. He's just the host.
Yeah, Bear Grylls is the host. Yeah. So Bear Grylls doesn't do anything. He just kind of narrates, and you actually see some really grueling things. Like you watch this.
No. Is this?
And you feel the pain.
Do the contestants have cameras, or they have crews with them?
There's crews that are at each checkpoint, and basically they're camera crews, which is one of these things. It's the same thing as the NASA, crew is like all of a sudden, now they have a cameraman up there. There's these adventure camera people who are following them through the rapids, and then they've got a guy on a rapid filming across to
wild.
the other boat.
Yeah, that's wild. Like, you're literally on the edge of your seat watching these people, on a rapid. Yeah. While someone's in the boat with them, holding pounds of their camera equipment, and keeping everyone in focus and in frame.
Yeah, and making it interesting. Yeah. So, I was looking into it of how they filmed it, and so there's a lot of camera teams. They picked at the top of it. They picked like I think 12 main groups. There was like 60 teams of 4. So it's 4 people each team. They all have to finish. Not one person can drop out. You can't finish.
All 4 members of the teams.
All 4 members of the teams. The 5th member is actually your helper, and your helper takes your gear from one checkpoint to the next. So if you go from the river rapids checkpoint to the bicycle checkpoint, that fifth team member is in charge of getting your bicycle to the fifth checkpoint, and they do that with vehicles and whatnot. But that's the other part of the challenge is the fifth member is actually keeping their equipment going the whole way.
How long does the race last for?
It's 11 or 12 days total is the cutoff. You can finish it in half that amount of time. You can finish it as quick as you want, but they have cutoff times, and then you have to make it at a checkpoint. And then, some people are too slow, and then they miss the cutoff.
So the season is the entire race? The
entire race, which is phenomenal.
And this isn't this is the first time they filmed the race into a television show.
Correct.
But the race has been happening for
a long time. So this race in particular is in Fiji, which is gorgeous.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah. It's not though.
I wouldn't make it past the first tiki bar you'd find.
He's just like, oh, gotta go.
No, I'm pretty sure this is the checkpoint.
Yeah.
Did you see me with like a coconut drink on a surfboard or something? Yeah.
Yeah. So they go through Fiji, the entire country, the entire main island. They go through it, and it's not a straight line. It's like this horrible squiggly loopy line all the way through the center.
Well, yeah, you have to squiggle around Fiji. I don't think it's that to fill a week.
Yeah, so
I assume they doubled back a few times.
Yeah, it was incredible. They go through stuff that I was shocked was real, but it's a race that's been going on for a long time. It stopped in 2007 or 9. And it just
Which one was it, Joe? Check your nudes.
Oh, fuck yeah. I got to look at which pussy was on 2009.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a thing that
40 ex-girlfriends was rounded.
And there's famous,
it stopped and then we started for Bear Grylls?
I guess what happened,
or the Amazon documentary?
I think what happened is it's very expensive to run these races. The fee to enter the race is $5,000 total. And looking at these races, they're not making any money. And there's a prize at the end. There's $100,000 prize. So the winners,
60 teams, 5,000. Yeah,
it's not a lot of money to pull off a race across a country with all the safety and all the all these people involved.
Safety in another country? You're crazy?
No, God.
We talked about this. There's no safety in Fiji. Yeah, there's no safety.
Put on the zip tie, the rip tie.
Is this tied to a tree? Yeah, who cares? Just go. Just
jump off the cliff.
Yeah, is this rated for body weight? Who knows? You'll be fine. Just go. Crazy gringo.
Yeah, gringo. But it's phenomenal. It really is like I thought it was going to be edited to make it look like, they're going through worse. They made it look as grueling as possible without anything fake. It was really good. And you got to see the shit that they put them through. It's life-threatening. These races aren't like, I guess my pitch of this, the real pitch from me.
You already sold me. I'm going to watch it as soon as we finish this episode.
Yeah. The real pitch is this. We're used to seeing things like Survivor on TV, right? And Survivor is a TV show about people surviving. This is a race that happens to be filmed. You get what I mean? There's a huge difference between the whole point of the show.
Setting people into you're setting Survivor. You're setting people into basically a television set.
Yes,
with certain hardships that are built in. Where this is you're just releasing people into the wild.
Yeah, this is just a documentary of people doing a race, and this race has been going on for years, and most of these people have competed in this race before. So there's people who've come back from the 2007/9 era, and they failed. They medical, they what is it called when you medical out of something? I
don't know.
Yeah, basically,
our listeners understand.
Yeah, so they would come back like one broke their ankle
for medical purposes.
Yeah,
failed their physical.
Yeah, they failed their rectal exam, which is what you have to do after each checkpoint, of course. You think I can sneak in?
Is that the sound of the podcast ending? When you have the first rectal exam joke, you always know that the podcast is winding down.
You think if I was in Fiji, just at the same time that this race was going on, and I'm a white dude, so I'm not going to be a regular white dude there. Like no white dudes live in Fiji, so you think I could just throw on some lanyard and be like, hey, I'm one of the checkpoint guys this way for your rectal exam. You just pop a little, and all the signs are just like little cardboard signs.
Did they
with
know
arrows.
where they're? Because how detailed is the map? Because really, you could.
It's not. It's very.
You could just
set
your checkpoint up like within.
Within like
close enough
half a click.
They think that it's now. Are there women on this race?
Oh, there are lots of hot women. Their entire families on this race, actually.
Oh wow! You can get the whole.
You can get the whole group.
Look at everyone's butts. Wow, that's like 4 generations of butts.
There's one that was 4 generations of women. It was an all woman crew. So they had the youngest to the oldest in there. Yeah, there's a lot of women. Okay. And both of them are top athletes, so they're really good in shape. So
yeah, I think if you were going to run a scam like that, I think you'd want to just set up like a full checkpoint, like within like 2.5 miles of the actual checkpoint. So then they would find your checkpoint.
Could you imagine when people get to the other checkpoint and they're like, wait a second, we were just at checkpoint 4. They're like, no, this is checkpoint 4. What are you talking about? Wait, we just had a rectal exam. What rectal exam?
Why would there be a rectal exam on a television show? You can't put that on Amazon.
Well,
Oh, Joe, I don't know where you come up with this stuff.
I don't know either. It's for the lack of memory of being sane.
Well, you're going to forget about it, then you're going to delete this episode in 12 years.
Yeah,
and have to apologize for it. So,
well, we done something.
If you want unauthorized rectal exams, email us at angryhatemail@gmail.com. Follow us at Twitter at Be Offended Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Be Offended Radio.
Are we on Alexa yet? I don't know if we are.
We're on Pornhub as The Inappropriate Guys. Spotify.
I think we're on Amazon. We can talk about Amazon because we're on Amazon.
Music.
We're on Amazon
iHeartRadio.
Everything.
Pandora.
Everything.
Google Play.
And Pornhub. Pornhub as well. Not Pornhub, but Pornhub. Yeah.
Yes. And apparently we're streaming in the rectal exam tents of Fiji.
That's our next. If we do a live show from Fiji, I'm down with that. I'm okay.
I'm good. I'm good with something. I have to go through rectal exam.
Oh, well, that was the whole catch.
No, I'm just trying to people to get to my tent. I'm not taking one. I'm not. Okay. I have to go.
Okay.